Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm kind of here to try and finish the background video. I had one made, but I didn't really like it, so we're going to try again. So during high school, I had a couple jobs. I worked at Dairy Queen for a little bit. And then I got a job at a gas station, Texaco gas station, and I was actually working full time my last couple years of high school. Junior year, I'd work 2 8-hour shifts on the weekends and then 3 night shifts during the week. And then between junior and senior year of high school, during that summer, I had the morning shift 5 days a week, and I liked it. So senior year, I actually ended up doing a night school to finish all my credits, and then I still worked my gas station job full time. And I ended up meeting somebody through there who was a lineman, and he kind of told me about what he did and everything. And I think he just watched me hustling around the gas station, and that was back when we used to wash windows and everything like that, and I was always running around. Either way, he told me he'd get me a job after high school, and he followed through. I had to delay it a little bit because I had a really nasty three-wheeler wreck when I was 18, just before I graduated. I still have some scars to prove all that. Took all the skin off my chest and everything. It was pretty gnarly, but once I healed from that, I went to work in Klamath Falls doing communications construction. So what we do is we build the internet, basically. Phone companies, cable companies, internet providers, all that kind of stuff. Well, the base of that is, out on the power poles, out on the utility poles, and through pipes. So we do the construction of all that. And we did the whole Klamath Falls and that whole area when I first started out and knew nothing, and I worked really hard and kind of made a name for myself and did that a few years. That company ended up going under, and I worked at a lumberyard for just a little bit when I was about 20, and then I went back to work for that company for a little while, and then they went under for good after that. So I ended up getting a job for a small company called Tennessee Cable. I worked for them for like 12 years. You really need to know what you bring to the table and when you're getting screwed, because kind of wage-wise, I made a lot less than I could have been, and I didn't necessarily know that, but it was very steady. I never got laid off. Never was laid off through the housing crisis, through any of those downfalls. I always had a job. But like I said, the wages kind of sucked. However, we made up with that with overtime. Lots and lots of overtime. I worked a lot in my 20s and 30s. I ended up starting a company when I was 30, I think. And it only lasted like 3.5 years. I put all my eggs in one basket. Never do that. So the guy that I was working for the last 10 years, I ended up subcontracting through him and only him. And it just didn't end up profitable. Things slowed down too much. I made a lot of mistakes. I tried to keep going way longer than I should have, and ended up creating somewhat of a tax hole. All my employees got paid, everything like that all got paid. But I ended up racking up some personal income taxes by trying to keep going and hoping another big job would come. Well, it never did. Either way, I got a job with another guy who taught me a ton and paid me a lot more an hour. I didn't realize there was that much there, but there was. And I worked for him for about a year. And I was going through a divorce at that time. So I had got married 10 years before that. I raised a stepson from the age of 4 up to 18. And it was back and forth relationship. When it was great, it was great. When it wasn't, it wasn't. Didn't work out. We ended up getting divorced. I lost myself for a second. Either way, I worked for that guy for like a year. He taught me a ton. But then I decided I was kind of lost in life, and I was still kind of heartbroken. I needed something fresh, something new. I was actually living in a camper at the shop. It was my way to kind of start over and everything and save money. Well, I went on the road. I took off from Oregon over to Boston. Got a job that had a pretty good salary and per diem and everything. It was super cold. This is Boston in the middle of winter. I have never been so cold in my life. Either way, when I was out there, I got a call from my old boss, the one that I learned so much from, and he said, "Hey man, I got a contact for some hurricane work. If you're going to be on the road, you might as well make as much as you can." And I said, I've always wanted to do that, So it was Hurricane Maria, which ravaged Puerto Rico, and he gave me a contact, and I called the guy, told him what I was about, and he basically was like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it type of thing. But he did have an opening, and he's like, yeah, if you're coming, you got to come now. So everybody tried to convince me not to and scare me at the company I was at because they did like me, but I was like, I got to go, guys. I got to go. So I only actually worked in Boston for like a couple months, and then went to Puerto Rico. That was great. Made a lot of money doing hurricane relief. Spent a lot of money doing hurricane relief. I thought it was going to go on a lot longer than it did. Well, it didn't, and poor financial decisions. Instead of having a whole bunch of cash after that, I didn't. Came back home for a little bit, and then decided that chasing work on the road was a good thing. Got both my brothers to come. We took off, went to Texas. Texas sucked. We were only there a couple weeks. There was no money going to be made. And so then we headed to upstate New York, and we did a lot of work around there. Ohio. At one point, I had my brothers, my son, and his friend on the road with us. So it was a really cool experience to be able to do that with my family. And we did some rugged stuff. I mean, there'll be some videos on here. There are some videos of some of that. Very rugged, but such a great adventure. It really woke me up to life again. So either way, did that whole thing. It's always a gamble on the road. I found that out for sure. I ended up getting ripped off for about $7,000 at the end. This guy owed me a lot of money, and I was still working for him because you get paid by what you do type of thing. And things just started feeling funny, and he was kind of bouncing out, and I was like, yeah, I'm going back home. This is not looking good. And so that's what I did, but I never ended up getting paid. Came back, got a job for the guy I used to work for that taught me all the stuff I talked about. I worked for him for a year. We did a whole bunch of jobs down kind of more southern Oregon. He's from Portland area, so we were working down south a couple hours. Once that work got done with, I got a job for a local guy that, well, we had done work for him through my employer. So he hired me on at an in-house position, which is the first time I ever actually had paid vacations, paid holidays, medical insurance. It was a year went by, and they were talking about, I was hearing that we were going to pour all this money in the communications industry, and at that time I was trying to figure out whether I wanted to go to power, because you make a lot more money in power. There's a lot of hoops to jump through, and I had started jumping through them. Or if I wanted to start a company, because, they're going to be building a ton of lines, and I know this very well, and I just need to get a truck, and so that's what I decided to do. It's still the same industry that I've always known. I kind of wish I would have went power, but I didn't. I made my choice. So we started the company with about $50,000 loan, which they took like $6,000 off the top. So really it was only like $44,000 or something. We bought a truck, an older truck. We bought a bunch of tools, and I had a little bit of money to do payroll, because most times, but when you turn your production in, when you turn your invoicing in, you're not getting paid for about a month after that. So you got to be able to pay your guys. That was the most stressful year of my life. That truck. He had said it was a good truck for him, and I believe him, but when I got it, things just started breaking left and right. I couldn't get through 2 weeks, and we were working out of town, paying for hotels. Like, oh my God, it was stressful. We made it, though. Our guys got paid. There was only a couple of late checks. We did that for 6 months or more on the road and stuff. Probably actually more like 8 months to a year when I think about it. Never made any money, though, between hotels, trucks breaking down, this and that. Like, I always paid all my bills, but I never made any money. So we came back home, and I got some work around here, and it's just, this industry is so frustrating and volatile. When I got my first work back home, there was going to be 6 phases. I was on phase 1, so there was a lot of work, miles and miles and miles to build of good work. I was like, yes, finally. Well, after phase 1, they pulled the plug. Decided they weren't going to pursue that. So that's kind of what happens a lot. You're promised all this, you see all this. At the end of the day, sometimes permits get in the way, engineering's bad and won't work, or they just pull the plug, or it's just the contracting world, especially when you're small. You never know. So it's like, gosh. Either way, we've been in business over 4 years now. Still haven't turned a profit, unfortunately, but all our guys are paid, all our bills have been paid. I always seem to have enough, but not much more. I'll make money, and then a truck will break. whatever, stuff like that. So that's been frustrating, but we're still pushing ahead. And right now, at this moment, I've actually got 2 trucks down, both with major engine troubles. It's the first time both have gone down. Usually, I work on my own trucks because it saves time, number one. It saves money, number two. Both of those are very valuable because they both equal money at the end of the day. I don't know what's one and what's two, but so I usually do all the work I can. When it comes to major engine work, though, on a big truck, it's messy. It takes a lot of tools I don't have, and it's downtime either way. So right now we're waiting on that. I actually had to lay all my guys off because of the trucks, and we're at this weird crossroads where supposedly there's going to be a whole bunch of work coming from this other contractor right now, which I'm very interested in. But you have to, I have to, if I want that work, I have to commit. And so I've committed. But that also means I can't try and get a bunch of work. This job's supposed to start soon, but there's also a chance that it doesn't come through. I trust the guy a lot, and he's been around a long time. Things come out of left field a lot, and these things get delayed for months, and then you're just screwed. So it's very complicated, that whole situation. But that's basically where I'm at now, and I'm going to try to do this channel just to kind of focus on mostly finances, but I think that really intertwines with mental health and bettering yourself. I really think those things are so intertwined. So we're going to just try to focus on a lot of that. And how do I get ahead in life? And how do I start from a later point? If that's your case, like me, like I've done a lot, I've made a lot. I really don't have much saved, and my finances are very tight. Some of that is because of help I've given family members. Maybe I'll get into that. I don't know, but it's really got me pinned right now, and it wasn't supposed to be this way, but you always know when you do something like that, you can't count on a follow through. So just trying to see what I can do from where I'm at. And this channel may help keep me accountable, and hopefully we can like learn together type of thing. And I'm really trying to do all kinds of research on a lot of things, and I will be bringing that to the channel and to the videos. I hope you enjoyed this. I don't know